Hello there and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. And welcome to a brutally hot midsummer day in southern England. And today, well, it's one of those occasions, a video where I intend to respond to some of the questions which you great subscribers and viewers have sent to me. Now, as always, there's a caveat here. These are just my thoughts and observations. They're not set in stone. I'm not an expert. I'm just a guy on the journey, the same as you. And these are just my thoughts. So here we go. If you'd like to ask me a question, drop it into the comment section below. Or if you look in the About section on the YouTube channel, you will find my direct email address. Send me that email. I'll respond to you. And if possible, I'll try and include your question in a future video. So let's get to it. My first question is from a viewer called Henry, and he asks, when people look at my watch but say nothing, I would usually pretend not to notice. What would you do in this situation? Thank you from a loyal fan of the channel. Well, thank you, Henry, for being a loyal fan. It's great to have you. And the question there is really, if you notice somebody glancing down, if you're a watch aficionado, somebody looks down at your watch but they don't say anything, how do you respond to that? Difficult question. It happens all the time, of course, and it happens with me because, when I meet people for the first time, perhaps go into a new environment, a new workplace, and you try and profile the people that you meet, and you can only do that, shallow as it may sound, by looking at the way they're dressed, looking at the accessories they've got, and for a gentleman, the wristwatch screams, something about your character, your flair, your passion. And if you notice somebody looking at your watch, you'll have noticed this because you are a watch aficionado and they don't say anything. What would I do? Well, for me, my first thought is be aware of danger, all right? If you're in a bar and you're in central London or some other very big urban city and you notice somebody glancing at your watch, my first thought is, am I in danger? Is somebody eyeing me up to rob me of this expensive watch? I, as you may know if you watch my channel, tend to favour Swiss wristwatches. I often wear a Rolex, which is synonymous with being an item which is stolen in muggings. So that would be my first thought. Am I safe? My second thought would be, if they're looking at my watch, what are they wearing? So, surreptitiously, you glance down and you try and get a look at their piece. If they're wearing a nice watch, you've profiled them to a degree, you're now happy. I'm not in a dangerous situation. Here's somebody who also enjoys watches. They've looked at mine. I've, glanced down. I can see that they are somebody of a similar ilk to me. And in reality, what you've just discovered is a potential opening of a chat or a comment to somebody who shares an interest with you. It would be nothing at all, I think, to say to somebody, I see you've got a lovely Omega Seamaster on there. As long as it wouldn't be weird to do that. If you're in a bar and you stood next to a total stranger and you were to blurt that out, clearly they might think, hang on a minute, am I about to be mugged? But if you're in the workplace, perhaps sat at a desk about to give a presentation, somebody else in the room you notice checking out your watch, you look at them, they've got a nice watch on, say, ooh, that's a very nice, Rolex you're wearing? I'm a fan myself. How long have you had that one? And it builds that relationship. So that's how I would deal with that. If somebody looked at my watch, and I noticed them checking me out, that's what I would do. Right, so my next question is from viewer Barry Galvin, and he asks, hello Ash, love the channel. Quick question, do you personally carry more than one watch when you go out for the day? What are your thoughts, suggestions on multi-watch cases for carrying 3 as a minimum? So, 2 questions really. The first one, do I carry more than one watch when I go out for the day? The answer there is no, I don't, to be honest. If I am in a position where I'll be switching what I do, my activities, throughout the day. So for instance, if I'm going to be doing some sport in the morning and in the afternoon I need to go to a meeting with somebody, I'll typically select a watch at the beginning of the day which will cover me for both of those scenarios to save me the necessity of having to carry, say, a sports watch and perhaps a more formal dress watch, which would be appropriate for, say, a business suit if I'm going to that meeting. What I tend to do, if you're asking my observation, is in a situation like that, you know, the watch I always turn to is the one I'm wearing today, and it's my Rolex Submariner. Quite simply because the Submariner holds an iconic position in the watch world, which would allow me to wear it in shorts and a t-shirt, or to wear it with a tuxedo in the evening. Thanks to James Bond, who made that socially acceptable. But yeah, I tend to pick a watch which will carry me across the events of the day, rather than put myself in a position where I would need to carry a second watch to change, all right? Because obviously there's security issues there. When it comes to watch cases, I'll be honest with you, I don't have a watch case. If I'm going on holiday, rather than carry more than one watch and expose myself to security risks, you know, of losing it in luggage, or being mugged and losing, you know, a big portion of my collection. I've only got a small collection of nice watches. I would pick one watch which again would cover me for the whole situation. And if I'm being honest, it's going to be my Submariner for me personally, because that type of dive watch, you know, I can wear on holiday, I can wear it in the pool, I can wear it in the restaurant in the evening. So I'm sorry to answer your question in a roundabout way, but the truth is I don't own a watch case, so I can't advise you on which one to buy, but that's how I get around it, by choosing a watch which is a better fit for the activities that I intend to undertake. Okay, next question from long-time viewer and somebody I've exchanged much correspondence with, and that's Tristan Sims. And he asked me, "Hi Ash, I know you've mentioned getting shoes from eBay and the thrift store, but what about clothing? Things like coats, shirts, trousers, that sort of thing. Thanks for all the information." Well, that is a great question by Tristan there, because yes, you know, I have made several videos, and there will be more to come, on my passion of men's dress shoes, and I do, you know, the bulk of my collection have been sourced from eBay because of those fantastic deals that one can acquire. And yes, to answer the question positively, I do buy other clothing from thrift stores, second-hand stores, charity shops. I have bought coats. You know, I made a video going back probably 18 months ago, explaining about my experience in buying a fabulous Crombie overcoat. Original price £1,000, which I was able to buy from eBay in an almost new condition, having only been worn once by the owner, who I interacted with, for £100. So for 10% of the original price, I picked up an overcoat which should last me for the rest of my life and look great. When it comes to shirts, jackets and things like that, yes, I have bought shirts from eBay. I often buy shirts only from the very highest level, so things like Turnbull and Asser, Gives and Hawkes, so the bespoke shirt manufacturers, or, you know, high-end manufacturers in London. You will find them being listed, and occasionally it's an auction site. You know, things like eBay, they are auctions. You can get things for an absolute steal if you're in the right place, in the right auction at the right time. So yeah, I've probably got 15 to 20 Turnbull and Asser shirts in my wardrobe at home, which would have cost £200 each, and I've picked them up for anything from £10 to £20. But it's all about the condition, all right? When you're buying anything, clothing, next to skin stuff particularly, from eBay, it's got to be in absolutely tip-top condition. It's pointless buying something which is threadbare and only has one or two wears left in it, because, you know, you're wasting your money. But if you shop around, be very careful with the condition. Always really go to town when you look at those images of the items that they've produced. Stay absolutely away from anything which doesn't have the sufficient images on that listing in the auction that you can say, this is first class, it's something I want to wear, and I will wear for quite some time. So yes, I do buy items from eBay other than shoes, but it's all about the condition. Okay, so our next comment is from viewer Lemony Snicket, and he says, how should a gentleman react when somebody complains or mocks his clothing style? Now, all of us intentionally well-dressed men, or stylish men I should say, will at some point come into conflict with the vast majority of people who would never wear a collar and tie in 30-degree temperatures in the British summertime. They would be sat in the garden in their underwear, you know, just soaking up the sun. They would not understand why one would try to look their best by throwing on a tie and a shirt. For me, how do I respond to negative comments? Well, quite often the best response is no response at all. If somebody says something to you in a hurtful fashion, in which they're trying to get a rise from you, by staying silent, that might be the best riposte. Because if you don't rise to their comment, you have already won the battle of dignity, and you don't have to do anything. So first of all, think about staying silent. Secondly, if it's not meant in an intentionally bad way, don't take it personally. If somebody takes issue with the way that you're dressed, not takes issue, but they don't understand about the way that you're dressed. Remember, the vast majority of people in the general population today have no insight and thought about the way they dress. They dress in the fashion of the wider herd of the population. They'll be wearing shorts and a t-shirt today, whereas I'm wearing a collar and tie. Yes, I have dressed up for the video, of course, but I would be wearing a shirt without a tie ordinarily because, I like to set a standard for myself, and that rubs off on other people. So if somebody says something, why you dress like that, they perhaps don't understand. It's nothing at all to explain to them, to say, I like throwing a bit of style into the way that I dress, and, I'm glad that you've noticed that I dress differently. That's the whole point. That's why I go to the extra bit of effort to dress well. If somebody has said it intentionally, to make you feel bad, don't dwell on it. They don't understand, just take it for what it is, say nothing, move on. They don't understand at all. The other thing that I often do is I assess the source of the negativity. So if somebody's standing there saying, you dress like a piece of crap, and they stood there in jeans which are too tight or with holes in them, or just a t-shirt or a polo shirt, they put no thought into the way that they dress, yet they deem themselves qualified to make an observation about the way I've dressed. An intentionally well-dressed man, if they think they're qualified to pass comment on the way I'm dressed, they need to be dressed better. And in 99.9% of the cases, they won't be. So if I look at the person who's made these comments to me and I see that the way they're dressed, I think to myself, who are you to be saying anything about the way I'm dressed? I don't respond, as I've said. The best riposte is often silence. I walk away, but I've already noted it. This is somebody who doesn't understand about being well dressed. It doesn't need a response. I do respect the opinions of other people, when they make these thoughts and observations. I get it all the time from my wife, who absolutely detests my habit of wearing cravats or ascots. She hates it. She thinks it makes me look like an old man. And I do occasionally, when she says, I'm not going out with you dressed like that, I do respect her opinion. I do take the cravat off if it really is going to, cause her distress. But, that is occasional. And overall, the most important thing is to maintain your dignity and maintain your calm. If somebody says something negative to you, as I've said, run through the things I've just mentioned, but don't lose your temper. Don't start saying to them, how can you say that? You look like a piece of crap. Because you've just immediately lowered yourself to their level. And as a chap, which is another word for a gentleman, that is something that we never do. We rise above those negative comments because we know that we have taken some effort in the way that we dress. We know that we dress better than that chap. So, we respect his comment, but we take it with a pinch of salt. Now, our next question is short and brutally to the point, but it does beg some response. And it's a question from WNH. And the question is, hobbies and pastimes, ? So I don't know whether that means what are my hobbies and pastimes, or what are the hobbies and pastimes that a chap should have. Kind of both go hand in hand here. So for me, the hobbies and pastimes which I invest my time into are, it's got to be activities that improve me as a person. Now, I'm 51, early 50s. And, when you're in your 30s, 40s and 50s, this is a time in your life where your time is its most precious, all right? You've probably got children. You're probably at the peak of your career with most responsibility and most, calls upon your time. You're married, you might be in a long-term relationship, and this obviously demands a lot of your time, thought and effort. So your hobbies are a really important opportunity for you to decompress and explore other parts of your life, other than work, other than family, other than responsibility. So I tend to invest my time in hobbies that improve me as a person. Now, I've mentioned in the past, I'm a prolific reader. I really love reading. I love reading non-fiction because it's a nice, easy, non-energetic way of improving myself. And I often read, books which just keep my learning going because I'm always trying to learn more things. Another thing, hobby which I do invest time in, is exercise. I'm in my early 50s. It's a really important phase of life to stay in good shape. I don't want to gain loads of weight like you see many people doing in middle age. I want to stay sharp. I want to stay looking good in my clothing. Being stylish is not just about the things you put on, but it's about the body that you put those things onto. So for me, I do run, not that often these days because it's too hot at the moment in the UK, but I definitely take exercise. I've entered a half marathon in a month or two, so I need to get in shape for that. I like to have a goal which I can work towards with exercise. So exercise is a really big thing for me. And for me, looking after that mental health, I love to spend time in the outdoors, whether that's, just maintaining land management, like I have this little wood and forestry which I look after. I've got a hut in the woods which I go and spend time in. So I really enjoy the outdoorsman mentality. I'm a huge fan of the bushcraft, legend, which is Ray Mears. I love bushcrafting, lighting fires, cooking my own food in the outdoors. You'll find a few videos on here around that. It's a topic which I haven't truly explored that much in the videos, but for me, those things really clear the mind and, make me feel physically and mentally well. So those are the things I do. But everybody's hobbies will be slightly different. From the Chap point of view, you can't go wrong if the activity you're undertaking is something that improves you in some way. And if you can make that hobby something which improves lives for others as well, so if you volunteer for a charity or get involved in things which improve your community, I've really invested a lot of time in the last decade with charities. I set my own charity up. It was quite successful, very time consuming. I kind of stepped away from that in the last year or so, because it was really all-encompassing for me about it in the last decade, but it really did set me on a path which made me a better person. So anything like that, you can't go far wrong when it comes to hobbies. And a quick one just to finish off. So I've had a question from Phil Webster, and he asks, best country boots for the discerning gentleman? A nice question. And probably I'm perfectly qualified here to answer that question because I do spend a lot of time in the outdoors and I do wear nice quality boots when I do so. But if I was going to buy a new pair of country boots right now, where would I go? That's probably the best way to answer this. And there's a pair of boots which I really have been eyeing up at the moment. It's from heritage British manufacturer Cheney. I'm a big advocate of their work. I think they're modestly priced for the superb quality which they produce. And there's a pair of boots called the Trafalgar. They're a capped toe derby boot, and they're dark brown, they're in a calf leather. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. They've got a really chunky Vibram sole which make them perfect for wearing in the outdoors, but that beautiful grained calf leather means that you can look after them, you can get a good shine on them. You can wear them of course in the outdoors, but in the winter time you can wear them with perhaps more utility trousers, chinos, even denim, whatever you like to wear. They look great and they just look like they're going to perform perfectly. Price point, £395 retail price. You might be able to get them cheaper than that. Shop around as ever. They come in a few different colours. They do a black, they do a beautiful brown colour, which when I look at them, I know they're just going to patina so well. Staying with that brand though, if I wasn't going to be able to buy those, I would be looking at the Cheney Hurricane. It's a military style ankle boot in brown leather. Again, perfect, nice big chunky sole, ideal for the outdoors. And ideal for tramping the urban streets as well. If you want a pair of those country style boots, but you live in an urban environment, they're also great if you're spending a lot of time on your feet and you want to do so in comfort and in the good old fashioned, inimitable British country style. So that's where I'd be going. I could answer by offering loads of other choices, but for me, it would be the Cheney Trafalgar all the way. And watch this space. I might be entering one into the collection perhaps in the coming winter, but that seems a long way off right now. So there we go. I hope you have gained something or some insights at very least from the questions I posed today. As I said earlier, please feel free to ask me any question you may have. It is my pleasure to interact with you, to give you my observations. I may not be an expert, but I can give you my thoughts. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe channel button if you're not already a subscriber, and come on the journey with us. Join us here at the Chap's Guide. So until the next video, take care of yourselves, stay cool in the heat of the summer, and I will see you again very soon.